Can you describe how Lincoln has changed from your childhood to now?
Lincoln School or the playground?
Both the school,
The
playground.
school, okay. The school, first of all, we had two old buildings when I went there. Then later on, they knocked down the two old buildings and it became one. And the old building was beautiful. It had a long stairway that went upstairs to the second floor, and then we would have all our classrooms either to the right or to the left, and the office was in the center. And the principal at that time was Albert Benson, and the ladies' secretary was Irene Allen. And at Lincoln School, the boys were in charge of the traffic boys. There were no traffic girls when we were young, only the boys. And so their office was down in the basement near the wood shop, and that would be on the corner of Alice and 11th Street. And they were the ones that were chosen to go and hold out the stop signs and to help us cross the street safely. So we had traffic boys on the four corners. That was on Jackson, on 10th, and Jackson on 11th, and then on Alice Street on 11th and 10th as well. And all the girls were complaining. We want to be in the traffic, boy. No girls allowed. So we wanted to be traffic girls because the boys were offered free movie passes. On Saturday mornings, they could go to the movies for free to see cartoons. And then the PTA would sponsor a bean feed where they fed spaghetti, kind of like to honor the boys. And so we thought that wasn't fair. The girls didn't have a chance. And I think probably in the 70s, then they started, or maybe late 60s, then they started having girls. But during the time when we were at Lincoln School, we didn't have the chance to be any of the crossing guards. And then we had some outside programs that we participated in, and one was the spring ensemble, singing. So we would meet other schools, and that was the first experience of meeting people from other schools. Everyone that had a choral group or instrumental group would meet at the Oakland Auditorium, and that is where we had competition. We would sing and try to get points and win a little blue ribbon. And then we also had participated in the Christmas pageant, and this was done through the Parks and Recreation Department. Every Christmas there was be a pageant, and Louise Jorgensen was the lady who led all the different schools, and we had like maybe over 20 scenes. And so she had to teach everyone all the dances, and we would practice in our classroom, and then we would go down to the auditorium for one practice, and then the next day would be the performance. And Lincoln School children, we were the snowman and snow woman, and we wore a costume with our head covered, and it was a mask, and we had these holes. And it was funny because the boys had a hat on, and the girls had a scarf on. And so when we moved and did our dances, the holes would sometimes move over and we could not see. And then if your hat fell off, you're just kind of going around blindly trying to figure out where your hat is and trying to put it back on your head. And so that was a fun time for us. And so all these activities help us to fit into, the American way of life, even though most of us stayed here in Chinatown. So the schools really did a lot to help us to fit in. And the teachers, they went out of their way to introduce us to the American way of life. We dyed eggs in the schools. We exchanged Christmas gifts and Valentine cards. And we tried to do some community service. We helped the Red Cross by collecting sundries, toothbrushes, and we also had washcloth, and we would pack them in little boxes, and they would be shipped over to like people in the war zones or some other area that needed their help that Red Cross sponsored. So we were taught many things, and it was basically through the schools to be more Americanized. At home we were more Chinese.